welcome to our Be the Glue series, where we share short and casual, but really impactful conversations with individuals who have been the glue or are the glue. And they do that by bringing people, ideas, efforts together, and they create something meaningful and navigate through challenges. So today I am joined by a dear colleague and a friend, Amy Purciarele, the founder of CEO of the Purciarele Group, and she brings 30 plus years of experience navigating this HR maze that we're all part of. So nice to have you, Amy. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Super happy to be here. I love talking about HR. You know, I could talk for days on end about it.
So true, so true. So, Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how are you the glue?
Absolutely. Love to do that. So I have, like you said, over 30 years of human resource experience. The majority was in a corporate structure. I left that structure about 2 years ago to start my own agency. Yes, like can't believe it's been 2 years already. But I wanted to start a consultancy or an agency where I can help small businesses where they didn't know they needed HR help. Nobody knows they need us until they find out they need us. And I like to come in before those crazy dumpster fire moments happen or in the middle of them, wherever I'm needed, and then help, be that glue, right? That puts the company back together, stabilizes, gets them on the right tracking. So if dumpster fires happen in the future, they're easy to manage, put out quickly, or they don't happen at all because you have all the tools in place to run your business successfully in compliance with rules, regulations, and how to treat people.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just about that compliance, but
Yes,
also about
it's
the
the people.
culture, the engagement, the
Absolutely.
talent management, or the talent development as well.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
which is huge. Yeah.
Do you have like a story or an example of how you were the glue, or maybe, observed somebody else being the glue?
I have so many stories, but I have a recent one where the company they lead with passion, which is great to a point until that passion comes out as frustration.
Ooh.
So we had where an employee just wasn't showing up on time, and the manager would sort of lash out at them. Or instead of say, start time is 7 a.m., whatever, I got involved. I'm like, where's the policy? We don't have one. Well, let's start with that. Let's create a policy. We actually created a whole handbook for the organization, went in, rolled it out with the employees. The employee that was always late wanted us to know their dog needed to potty at a specific time, and that's why they were late. So we walked through the different steps of let's fix this because that's not a viable excuse. Let's fix it. Let's move forward. And then I had training with the supervisor that when these things happen, refer back to a policy. If it's something there's no policy, let's create one. So instead of being frustrated or passionately sarcastic, you have something to reach back out
Yeah,
to.
that doesn't help. No.
It doesn't help. And I've seen a huge change. That person now understands there's a policy in place and there's a progressive discipline policy as well. So if, Fluffy doesn't potty on time and you're late, you now fall under the progressive discipline. So it's been actually a beautiful thing to see the supervisor and the employee grow into the role of responsibility, accountability, and just something super simple, show up on time. And if you don't, we will have a polite conversation and go through the steps of repercussions.
Yeah, and then I'm sure like coaching the leader in that moment too, kind of
Yes,
asking the reasoning behind it or the needs of the employees as well, and maybe
yes,
coaching them through as to like how do you accommodate if there is specific needs,
yes,
while still, aligning with a policy.
absolutely. Yes. And Fluffy's potty schedule will never be a need. We love our animals, but Fluffy needs to be fed. And if you lose your job, it's not going to happen.
So what were some challenges that you see your clients navigating in this crazy world today?
There's so many challenges, and with the different rules and regulations that seem to change, all of the time. A lot of my clients, they're smaller businesses, and they maybe started out in a specific trade. So they make widgets. They're perfect at that, but they don't understand I have to pay overtime.
Mhm.
Or there's rules and regulations with, all sorts of different things. So I come in, sort of do this 360 review. What do they think is going wrong? The 12 things I find that's going wrong. And then we come up with a plan together to get them to where they need to be. So there's everything from I had a client that didn't feel you should pay overtime. He said, well, I still pay them for those hours, but not at time and a half. That doesn't make sense. So we went and revisited the policies and explained why those things are required by law. And they, now have a policy and a clear understanding. And it was sort of like that light bulb moment of they're great at making widgets, but they don't know the business, aspect of things. So I've actually gone through and created some checklists for those new business owners and some that have been in business forever, but they don't know the requirements. I had one that said I had to get a business license. Yes. I had to register with the state. Yes. When do they give me a checklist? They don't.
Yeah.
You have to, sort of figure it out yourself or come to somebody like me that would be happy to provide a checklist for you. Not all encompassing, but it can definitely help with some of those steps.
Wow. And so you're making me think like what are some like most common, like that's a good common one. What are some other ones or maybe some avoidable HR mistakes that the small businesses can make? And maybe what is the range of small business that you support too?
So the majority of my clientele have between 2 and 40
Okay,
employees.
perfect.
So I don't, sometimes when people mention small, medium, etc., they look at the financial aspect. I don't talk finances with my clients because I'm not in that sector. I just look at how many people you have because, as you know, based on employee size, federal regulations, sometimes state, depends on what you are required to follow or do for your employees as well. So
Exactly.
also ran into I-9s where the employer did not understand what an I-9 was, the importance of an I-9, things of that nature. So we created a cheat sheet to explain what an I-9 is, how to fill that out, and to go forward as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. So t tell me a little bit more about maybe some culture work, or some of the cultural elements that you're noticing working with like that small of businesses.
So it's definitely a challenge. I have some that are in the medical sphere. So it's more of a high-paced, high-intensity level position. And what we've found is you have to sort of quell those tempers and those passions with sensibility and taking a break. We're at the beach, go take a walk, whatever it could be. But I found some of those clients that they run on such a high level, they don't necessarily take time to look at their staff and say, Jenny is burnt out and frustrated. Bob is over there, maybe he's crying in a corner because it's been, a day. So we've actually initiated some culture practices to talk through those steps. So instead of having heated moments, they have scripts that they can go through that sort of hit some of the challenging moments of the doctor yelled at me. Well, yes, they did. They were in the middle of a procedure and you dropped something. Shouldn't have yelled at you. This is what will happen next time. So we actually go in and do culture surveys, sit down with those employees, and then give the client a cleaned up version that doesn't identify people, but identifies concerns and then the pathway to fix them. And then we have some of my clients, we've initiated a hotline. so the employees can reach out when they have those questions or concerns. And again, it's kept confidential unless it can't be. Do you know how that works?
Yeah.
There's some things we can't, keep confidential. But having those things in place, knowing they have a sounding board that isn't involved in the business specifically, has really helped one of my clients tame down the extreme passions and the turnover that they'd had the year prior.
Oh, I love that. I love that because there is, so you go in, you do your focus groups, you get all that data, kind of
Yes,
find some themes that you can bring back and
yes,
share with leadership or the doctors or the leaders in the organization, and then work a plan through that.
yes,
That's wonderful. So that's another way of being the glue, you know?
absolutely. Yes, yes. I'm here to keep everybody together, cohesive, and, life goes on.
And what's one piece of advice you would give to other HR professionals who maybe are trying to be the glue in their organizations, also in their personal lives and their professional, right, like development, and they're struggling? What would be one thing that you can remind them?
So really, it's breathe, just breathe, right? And understand that nothing is immediate. And you and I have talked about this, and it's something I've had to overcome as well. There's nothing that can't wait 5 or 10 minutes for you to, breathe, do a little research, whatever you need to do, take a jog, have a hot cup of coffee or tea. So really just, maintain that focus on it's going to be okay. You've
Yeah,
got this. You've got the, if you're in HR, honey, you have made it a long way. You've got this. Not all of us can
so
survive,
true.
you
So
know?
true. Especially
Yeah.
after 2020, right? Right?
Oh
Because it's
my
been
goodness. Yes.
nonstop, nonstop.
Yes. So it really is just breathe, refocus, know that you've got it, don't panic. I mean, I think that's the biggest takeaway all of us can have is there's time for everything. You're good.
I was wearing a t-shirt yesterday that said everything is figure outable. And it's
Yes.
my new favorite t-shirt because I think I went to the grocery store and I think people were trying to like read it. And then they would smile. And it is like what you're saying is like just
Yes.
pause, breathe, you'll figure things out instead of um reacting, maybe take a moment to think things through to respond instead, because reaction is more about like those emotions that
Yes.
just take over. Where responding is being more mindful about, okay, did I do some research? Do I have time? What level of a priority is this? Is this really
Yeah.
urgent or is it important? And a lot of people have very different definitions of urgent and important. And in our world,
Absolutely.
to me, urgent is like payroll not running. Like that's urgent
Yes.
you know
Yes.
people not being paid, but everything else you can figure them out. Just
Absolutely.
take that break.
Yes.
So any where can people find you? Where can they find you and your services? Where can it reach you?
So I have a beautiful website. It's percirelegroup.com. We're on Instagram where we post some funny things, Facebook as well, and then definitely on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, actually, I have two sides, the Perciarele group, more professional side, and then my side, where you may find funny stuff as well.
And we'll share all that with everybody. And then if you have a freebie or something you can share with the audience, we'll make sure we attach it on the recording as well.
That's perfect. I appreciate that.
So, anything else you would like to leave the audience with?
I mean, just remember every day you wake up breathing is a beautiful day. Just keep doing that. Life is good.
Oh, I love that. And when life gets sticky, you have the power to hold it together. I had to put like a
Yes.
little be the glue stickiness part.
I love that. Yes, be the glue. Absolutely.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for
You
being here
are
with
so
us today.
welcome.